Hey gorgeous, welcome to Happy Go Fabulous. I am so thrilled that you're here. This is our space where we get real about life, the good, the messy and all the juicy bits in between. Real talk, real life and a whole lot of delicious living. But I must warn you, listening may cause unexpected outbreaks of fabulousness and real life magic. Hi, I'm Catherine and I am so incredibly passionate about helping inspired, motivated, impact-driven, freedom-seeking people just like you to do the deep inner work to create those beautiful outer wonders in life. It's all about revolutionising your relationship with yourself, where you fall madly, deeply in love with who you are and create a life so fabulous you can't wait to jump out of bed every morning to live it. Ready? Because ordinary living is so last season. Life's waiting and it's time to make it fabulous. Let's shimmy on in. Hi gorgeous, how are you? How are you feeling? I hope you are feeling absolutely fabulous. I've had a few upsy downsy kind of weeks, days, weeks. It's almost like that's the dance of life. That's just the dance of life. And since I recorded my Queen of My Life activation, lots and lots of other stuff has been unfolding. And I'm not sure if you've listened to that episode. It was a bit of a mega episode, but those 33 days of devotion that I went through were huge. So there was lots of stuff that I was sharing there, and the integration is still happening and it will continue to happen. So I was sharing on social media, I think maybe a couple of weeks ago now, but about that in-between space, that void, the bit where you've sort of done all of this releasing, manifesting, all sorts of things. And then sometimes it can feel like it's a couple of steps back because things, we don't stay in that high energy all the time. But I think that's where resilience really comes in, and being in alignment. It's about how do we deal with things on the days where it doesn't feel all sparkly and vibrant. So that's what I've been doing, but I feel absolutely fabulous. I have just come back from such a fun morning. I'm recording this on a Sunday, and I went it was a Japanese Taiko drumming workshop. And it was just such good fun. There was a class of us, there was a workshop, and we just got to hit drums really hard. And we added some rhythm and we kind of used a little bit of coordination, but you didn't really need that much. But it just felt really good. It felt really good for my body. And last night, I won't go into the details of it here, it'll probably be another podcast episode maybe, but I had a huge breakthrough yesterday. And today felt like the heavy drumming was helping that just to integrate. Felt so good. Just felt so good. I would love to do more of that, actually. There's no, the people that did it are from a couple of hours south of us, and they were doing it as a special, they'd been at a festival and they were on their way back and they did it as a special workshop. So it's probably one of those periodic things that I do. But today is all about prevention is better than cure. And I cannot believe that I would be quoting one of my agriculture teachers from school, that was something that he used to say. Yeah, believe it or not, I grew up in the country. We didn't live on a property and there was limited subjects to choose. I chose agriculture, and would you believe that it was my highest mark at school? That there was no way I topped the class, but it was one of my highest marks in agriculture. Bloody hell. Most of the kids were from properties and they were learning to, like animal husbandry and, how they can, their homework from school was them just going home and doing whatever they did on their farms. Whereas for me, it was a little bit more removed, but not removed. Maybe it helps me now on the property. I don't know. I don't think it does. But the teacher used to always go on about prevention is better than cure. And it was a really memorable anchor that in farming, that, if you're thinking about animal husbandry, if you're thinking about growing crops and just making, cost so much less to prevent disease from happening than it did to cure the disease. And I remember some really horrific, they were films that we watched then. They weren't even videos. They were films that we'd sit in the room and we'd watch these films about awful things with, animals. And oh my God, there's so many memories that are coming back. That was just horrific. But it was showing the benefits of prevention versus what had to happen for cure. And, that really, I apply the same principle to my life, to my business, to my energy, to who I am. I really think about prevention is so much better than cure. And, if you think about, I'm turning 60 next year. My mum passed away when she was 39. She had asthma and heart condition. My dad, he passed away in his 80s a couple of years ago, but the last, I would say, 20 years of his life were not well lived. There was quite a bit of illness there. Same with John's mum, that she wasn't vibrant in her later years. John's dad died young from a brain tumour as well. And, I guess after my mum passed away, and it took a lot of time for me to get to this space, but I made a commitment to myself, and I've talked about this heaps before. I made a commitment to myself, I think it was towards the late 20s, where I just wanted to be the very best version of me that I could be and live my most beautiful life that I could live. And I guess without labeling it then, that's really about prevention. That is about prevention. And for me, prevention is about being really living consciously. It's not about being boring and restricting and, wrapping myself in cotton wool. It's far from that. It's about being very, very conscious about who I want to be, how I want to show up, the life that I want to live, the energy that I will allow into my life, who I will allow into my life, and surround myself with, very conscious about my health and wellness. And I have been, and I've gone through points in my life where I've been very, very fit and healthy and active. And then I've gone through other points where I haven't so much. And for me, the conscious bit is about, I tend to think about it, how do I want to be living? How, and is what I'm doing now contributing to that or detracting from that? And I haven't talked about this for a long time, but I have this rocking chair test that I picture myself, well into my 90s, sitting in my rocking chair on my porch, just contemplating life. And I want to be sitting in that rocking chair and really going, yep, you lived a great life. I don't want there to be regrets. I don't want there to be, if only, or I don't want to be, incapacitated in any way. Now, I can't guarantee, what conditions I might be faced with, but what I'm doing now in the years that I'm living are contributing to how I will be in my 90s. And a lot of people don't think that far ahead. And I certainly live in the now, but I think about, is this going to enable me to live healthy, vibrant, active life? Or is this going to detract from that? And not everything. I don't think that with everything. But what I'm seeing a lot at the moment, and far out, it just irks me. It irks me. This glorification of a crash and, of the burnout. And there's people online, and a lot of women, to be honest, and a lot of business and women that I highly respect. And this is not about, dishing out on them. It's just my observations that there seems to be a wave of some people sharing their burnout, their illness, or, I worked so hard I broke myself. And then I rebuilt my self stories, or I was so focused on the money that I forgot the other parts of my life and neglected those. And, my relationships crumbled and, my health suffered and all of these things. And now I'm not saying that I'm perfect I am so not perfect by any means. But it seems to be this glorification that I'm noticing at the moment. And it's not even like they're talking about, oh, this is how I was and this is how I am. A lot of them are talking about it like it's still that hustle culture. And like, it's almost like I'm proud that I work so fucking hard that, I nearly killed myself. And now I've realized what's important in life. But it's people that are just glorifying the crash. Maybe some of you relate to those stories as a powerful before and after and what I realized. But what I think they really skip in those crucial conversations is about the prevention, like really about the prevention. To me, it's obvious that if you bust your guts and don't listen to your body and don't take a break at the expense of, oh man, let's get those 7 figures. Like somebody was saying the other day that they're a millionaire business owner and because they've earned $1 million over 20 years. Like, what the fuck is that? This glorification of the crash and the burnout that and I have worked very, very hard. I have worked where I have been, I would say, out of balance, but not much, to be honest. Like, I have been conscious about my work rhythms. I have been conscious about what's important to me in life, and it's a holistic life. Sometimes at different chapters in my life, I have devoted more energy and time to the family and the kids. And then there have been other times where I have devoted more energy and time to my business. I have always devoted time to myself. And even when I say that, devoting time to my business, family to me is still the priority. And it's almost like the foundation of what I do. And there's been a few times where, and it wasn't even pushing myself, but I realized that I had taken a lot on, and it was a lot of worry. It was a lot of fingers in a lot of different pies, but it was the worry, and it was my nervous system was completely dysregulated. Is that the word? Dysregulated? It was out of whack completely. And I just recognized in myself going, oh, this is not cool behavior. This is not normal. You're going to crack really, really soon. So I could recognize those signs within me, and I could recognize when I was starting to tip over the edge, and then I go into the whole, okay, we need to focus on this. So I guess that what I'm saying is the bits that are irking me about that glorification of the burnout, and is you don't have to wait until you're broken to come back to yourself. Like, please don't. Like, it's not even you don't have to. Please don't. Don't. Let's just leave it there. Don't wait till something crashes. I was talking to a girlfriend just recently, and she's a single mum. She has a good support network with her, but her job requires her to travel, quite intensive travel, which means that she needs to arrange care for her young daughter while she's away. And she's just come back from a period of travel, and she's really sick. She's really sick, and just a sickness that she won't recover from. She's been on a couple of bouts of antibiotics. Her daughter then got sick when she got back. And then because her daughter got sick, she was starting to get better again, but she got sick again and got a secondary infection. And it was kind of like when we get those little niggles, and I'm not saying, it's an easy situation, just, change jobs. It's not as easy as that. And I'm not making it I don't want you to say, oh, yeah, but Catherine, it's not as easy as that. I know it's not as easy as that. But when we start to get those little niggles that I'm getting a sore throat. So what is it that I need to do? What is that telling me? I'm tired all the time. Like I go to bed, I get 8 hours sleep, but then I'm wake up exhausted and my body's aching. I've got this constant ache in my back, or I just have this cold that I can't get over, or I have this pit in my stomach that I feel like something's not right. They're signs. They're signs for us to be able to nip it in the bud. And I think there are things we can do before we even get to those signs. But it's about, nipping things in the bud. And, I've had a challenging, past 18 months or so since I've, in the lead up to moving here. And moving here, there's been ups and downs. And I have really tuned in to what's going on for me. Like some days I get really clear answers. Other days it's just like, man, what's happening here? But for me, the prevention is an overarching way that I live my life. So what that prevention looks like is very much through, I would say, an energy lens, not specifically about energy, but it's about maintaining my energy. So my vitality, my health, my wellness, my fitness, my mental stimulation. So my physical, my mental, my emotional, my spiritual well-being. And I come at it from a very holistic way. And energy, I guess, is at the foundation of that. So I have daily practices. They are just part of my life, and I've been doing them for forever. No, not forever, but they have evolved. And my morning practice is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. It might vary on different days how I do it, but I will always tune in to me. I will always give thanks. So gratitude is non-negotiable, and it's not like I just do that in the morning. It is just a whole way of being, but there is a certain practice that I go through in the morning about gratitude. There is a certain practice where I connect with all the parts of me, and that I give love, I listen, what do I need? What do the different parts of me need? I focus on my codes for how I live life and how I choose to live life. So I go through those codes of what's important to me. I also go through my intentions for how I want the day to be. I go through intentions for what I'm calling into my life, what I'm releasing from my life. And there's also a health and wellness element to that too. So there's a movement practice with that. So that captures my mind, it captures my emotions, it captures my physical presence, and it captures my spiritual, and it's the essence of who I am. So my morning practice is, I think, a big part of my prevention. And also it's non-negotiable. So that energy that comes around boundaries that I set. So if we're away on holidays, or if if I'm doing a working day, if I'm traveling back to Canberra and I don't get to do the walk at the beach or the walk on our property or something, I still do that practice in my car. So I adapt, but I still go through that same practice there. And I also do, I have other rituals around, different full moon, new moon, the seasons as well, honouring the seasons there. These are not, it's not a rescue plan. These are about just setting the foundations of how I choose to live. Other ways that I think about prevention are really being discerning about what I'm letting in, who I'm letting in, what I'm watching, what I'm consuming. And that goes for food as well. Like I'm loving, do you know what I'm loving at the moment is the Ayurvedic principles that they just fit really well, or I fit really well with them, but that really resonates with me. So I'm very conscious about what I'm putting into my body and when I'm putting that in my body, and not to the point where it's just like so strict, but it's being really, really mindful about, keeping this vessel that I've been given in a really tip-top condition so it can take me through to into my 90s at least, I hope. We get given a car, we buy a car, and however many cars we get in our lifetime, that I don't know about you, but I get mine serviced regularly. I am always filling it up with the right fuel. I am always checking the tire, not always, but the tires, the air pressure, the making sure that there's water in the wipers, and I really look after my car. I keep it nice and tidy, and I'm really gentle when I'm driving. I don't abuse it. Imagine our body is our vessel. It's like our car. And are we looking after it the same way that we're looking after our actual car? Are we getting regular checkups? Are we going to our health practitioners for regular checkups? Are we tuning into our body? Are we doing little tune-ups with it, and the energy tune-ups as well? So if we just had one car to look after for 80, 90 years, we would absolutely look after that. So looking after our vessel that we've been given is part of that prevention. What are we eating? Is it, contributing to that life force energy, or is it really highly processed foods that are actually causing us illness? How are we thinking about things? Because the way we think about things can affect what happens in our body. There's been some beautiful studies by Dr. I think it's Amato, forgive me if I've got that wrong, who studied water and the vibrations on water. So when there was music playing that was soft, classical, positive music, the water vibrations were very soft. But when there was this really heavy, doof, doof, negative, harsh music, the vibrations on the water were really, really harsh. And, so what is it that we're saying to ourselves? That, we talk about that inner critic and the self-talk. That's not just about, don't be mean. We're actually, that affects it affects our mind, it affects our essence, it affects our being. So choose your words really, really carefully. Be really discerning about, the environment you're around. I won't watch shoot 'em up movies. I just will not watch those. I don't want that energy. I don't hate many things, but I hate those. I won't watch any cruelty. I won't allow any, visions, or even if I hear it on the radio, I'll just turn it off. So I'm very, very discerning. Also knowing when to say no and when to say yes. And we don't always get this right, but what boundaries are you putting in place? Are you saying yes to something where you really actually, I don't want to do that, but you feel obliged to do it? Are you shoulding on yourself? Are you doing things because you feel that you should do them? Because that causes an element of, even it might just be frustration. And when we've got those lower levels of energy, that can contribute to the whole of us not feeling great. So, creating space before you hit exhaustion. How are you structuring your week? How are you structuring your month? If you're working full time, if you've got a family, if you're doing it solo, if you are in a situation that is challenging, how are you managing that? If you're needing to bust your guts to earn more money, then how can you do it in a way? Where can you build in some factors where there is a bit of a breather for you? so that you're not busting your guts 24/7, but you've been able to factor in a bit of a break. Or if you are working really, really hard, are you fueling your body with the appropriate nutrition? Like my husband's a school teacher, and he said there'd be kids coming to school drinking Red Bull or Coke and a packet of chips, and then they're bloody not focused in class and they're disruptive in class. And it's about, well, what do you expect? They're putting this sugar and shit in their bodies that affects our minds. Like when I used to deliver training programs, and if I was organising the catering, or if I was getting somebody to do the catering for me, and they put minties on the table, I would just like, can we please remove those? Because when people eat them, that they become addictive, and then it actually what it takes to process, we get those spikes in blood sugar, but what it takes to process that is taking energy away from our brains to be able to think about things clearly. And so no wonder people after lunch, they'd be sitting there going, oh my God, I can't even concentrate. It's because you've been eating fucking bloody sugar all morning. So, we need to move our bodies. I sound like I'm a little bit of a purist here. Please trust me, I am not. Sure, I have sugar, but like my grandmother said, everything in moderation. And I'm very, very conscious about what my end goals are. The universe will have a plan for me, how long I'm here of use on this planet, but my human wants to be here into my 90s at least. Yeah, I kind of picture 96 is the image that I keep getting. And so if I want to be here and active and still feeling, healthy and well into my 90s, then I really need to think about what it is that I'm doing now. Actually, there was something else that popped into my head, and then it just popped right out of my head. So just even walking and moving my body down at the beach is definitely part of my prevention. Being at the beach and walking on the sunrise and the ocean, that is the medicine that will keep me feeling amazing. Recalibrating. So I've just done this beautiful Queen of My Life activation, the 33 days of devotion, where I really, really focused in on shedding some of those layers that have been building up. And it's like the agriculture. It's like my ag teacher was telling us that when we tend to the soil, when we tend to the animals, when we prevent the disease, when we tend to the soil and the animals, that's about the prevention, because we don't want there to be anything wrong with the animals and the plants, because it costs more, it takes more effort, it takes more energy to actually cure. And sometimes we can't cure it. Sometimes we push ourselves beyond being able to be cured of things. And a lot of people, I hear this a lot with women with cancers like breast cancer. Do your checks. Do your checks regularly, and nip things in the bud. If you've got any sort of inkling that something's not quite right, go and get it checked out. Have a really great health practitioner that supports you. I remember what I was going to say before. Health is our abundance. That if we are not healthy, if our wellness is suffering, it does not matter how much money we've got. So all those people there that are putting that badge of honor about how much bloody money they've earned in the last 2 days or month or whatever, but health is that's what success, not even just success, but for me, that is the absolute foundation, because it doesn't matter how much money we've got. If we can't move, or we're riddled with disease, then what's the joy in that? I had the same doctor in Canberra since when the kids were little, and she knew our family history. I built up a really good relationship with her. There was a few little things that I was just like, that's not proactive enough for me, but on the whole, she was a really good doctor. I go to my health practitioners generally are energy healers, they're alternative health and wellness, traditional Chinese medicine, and but I do go and see my local GP. But she was away one time I needed to go. I wanted to get some blood tests and just check. This was when I was in perimenopause, and I wanted to get some blood tests done. I was working with a nutritionist who was supporting me with some health concerns or health prevention, really. And I went to the doctor and asked for these blood tests. And she said, I'm sick of bloody people coming in here and getting blood tests. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, what the fuck? And she just went on this ranty rave about, nutritionists are not science back professionals. And she said, I'm just sick of, people coming in and wanting to get a blood test and just checking their hormones and blah. And I said, excuse me, that this is my health and this is my life that we're dealing with. And as a woman, I'm wanting to know what my hormone levels are, and I'm working with the nutritionist who is supporting me in a holistic approach. And I said, if you're not prepared to write for me, because I don't think the nutritionist could write the blood tests out. And I said to the doctor, this is my choice. And if you are not here to support me, then I'm sorry, I will make an appointment when my doctor comes back. And do you know what? I remember sitting in that chair and I really went, what the fuck? Like, seriously, we're about helping people take control, and I was not doing anything irresponsible. And I think that's was it one of the first times? I don't know if it was the first time, but it was a big time that I really stood up for myself and I spoke up to somebody and I said, that's not okay. I actually, I didn't end up getting any blood tests. And I said, sorry to have, I didn't even say waste your time. I said, sorry, but I want these done. If you're not going to write them, then I will make an appointment with my doctor when she comes back. Thank you. And I just walked out and I just was like, fuck you. Excuse my language. Sorry, I did say I wasn't going to swear, but that's not okay. So sorry, find yourself a good health practitioner, one that supports you, one that has supports you in achieving your goals and the way that is in align with you. So this is your life, your health, your choice, your body, and find somebody that is there to support you. Do you know what I'm finding it? Because we've moved to the coast and we're getting to know the GPs here. I found my little support team of other healers and practitioners here, but to find a GP, and I did have I went and saw a woman when I first moved here and she was pretty cool. And then the second time I went to see her, I was just like, are you kidding? I was the first appointment so it was 8:45 and I got there a little bit early because one of my love languages is to be on time. And so I got there a little bit early. I did not want to be taking too much of her time and putting the rest of the schedule out. She rocked up. It was past 9:15. It was more than half an hour late. She did not even acknowledge any of us in the waiting room. And when I went through, that she did not acknowledge anything. And I'm just going, are you serious? That is just a common courtesy to say, oh, sorry. So anyway, I won't go back and see her. She's done her dash. And actually, when I did see her about my finger, I had a finger from a dog bite and it was very, very painful. And she just kind of dismissed me. And I'm just going, that is not okay. That's not okay. So stand up for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. So prevention is way, way, way better than cure. When you wait for cure, it just costs you so much more money. It costs you time. It costs more energy, and it probably costs a lot of regrets going far out. If only I had just listened to my body, listened to those little niggles in any area of your life. This isn't just health, but this might be about relationships. If you've got prevention, what is it that we need to do to make that relationship work well? Our friendships as well, are we putting in and helping those to work well, or are we putting expectations and demands on our friends? With our work, are there things that we can put in place, like systems that we can put in place, some automations, some processes that might help it to flow more easily? Are we, what is our work rhythm and cadence like? Are we setting ourselves up to burn out because we're just trying to cram so much in? Are we being little bits of people pleasers and saying yes to things that we really want to say no to? And, we're just doing extra things. Are we putting ourselves at the bottom of the to-do list and putting everybody else before us? So these are all little things that we can think about in prevention versus cure. And for me, this is part of the fusion that I bring in, is really focusing on getting your energy in alignment, but also working out what is the strategy in relation to whatever it is that you're working on at the moment. And I have this beautiful energy reset that I've got at the moment, and it can be done in person or online. And it's kind of like the energy edit, I'm calling it. That I tune in to you and your energy, and what is it that's where are you at in life at the moment, and then we do an energy tune up, a bit of a zhuzh up for your body, your mind, your soul, your emotions. And it, depending on what you need and what your body needs and what your essence needs, it could be sound healing that we use. It could be these beautiful magnets that, so biomagnetism is a new modality that I've added to my kit, where it's about healing with magnets and helping your body to balance the pH levels in your body, and if anything's kind of out of alignment. I also use Reiki, which is energy that I tune into and can infuse for you as well. But we don't just do the energy zhuzh up, we're looking at, well, what's actually going on for you? And I tune into my guidance. So there's a lot of intuition here, and your guides come through and my guides come through. And we kind of pinpoint where the energy's out of balance. Because sometimes when you go and see an energy healer, I've been to see, gone so many different energy healers, but they often don't talk about, what it was, or what you can do to move forward, or to help integrate what the clearing that we've just done. And when I've worked with coaches, they tend to work on the strategy side of things, but not really the energy or the metaphysical side of things, where a lot of the blockages are stored in the subconscious. So the energy work can help us to get there. So I have the beautiful gift of being able to do both, that bridge between energy, metaphysical, and the here and now practical strategy. So if you're interested, just contact me, either email me or reach out via my socials, and just check in if you're interested and finding out more. I have special offers from time to time, so follow me on socials where you'll see what those offers are. But generally it's a 90-minute session and I can do remote as well. So you don't even need to be present with me while I do the remote healing, energy work, and then I can share the insights that I've received with you. And I had a beautiful, oh man, it was just, been doing a lot of this work recently, and I've just had so many beautiful feedback about how profound the shift has been for them and how they've felt. So I work with women all around the world, and blokes too, but all around the world. And some of my clients in America, I was working with one woman, and she just we had this connection. I didn't let her know when I was doing the healing, but she felt it. She knew what was happening, and she could feel the sensations that I was feeling. So anyway, that's certainly something that I can do, and it's a really practical way to experience prevention and not just the cure. So little reminder for you, you don't have to wait until you're broken. Please, 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 like I said at the beginning, don't wait. Don't wait till you're broken, till you're sick or you're burnt out. Really tap into whatever it is for you that will help you prevent crap happening in your life. And so in all areas of your life, think about your intentions for what you want in life, and then what is it that you can do to ensure that you are heading down that path. So it's about very, very conscious living. I would love to hear any feedback that you've got. Please comment, share, because when you hear the episodes and share them with others or provide comments, then it gets it into others also hear about the podcast as well. So lots and lots of love to you. Keep being absolutely fabulous, and I will be with you next time. See you, gorgeous. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Go Fabulous. I hope you loved it. If you did, could I ask a big favour? Please subscribe, leave a review, and most importantly, share the love and let your besties know about the podcast. This will help get it into the hearts and ears of all the gorgeous souls who need a little bit of fabulous in their life. If you'd like some more high vibe happiness in your life, come and visit me on my Happiness Hive socials, and make sure you've signed up to my newsletter, your weekly drop of juicy goodness. Pop over to my Happiness Hive website and click on the link Working with Catherine. I'd love to help you make life amazing. Until next time, keep being fabulous.